The 2025 Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centurion, and EBC Brakes.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. I feel like a bit of Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup race action from Killarney International Raceway. Yes, indeed, we make our way down to the Mother City for round 7 of this championship. And the crowds have come out in full force because we've got supercar and superbike action out on track at the famous circuit here at Killarney. And they are looking forward to seeing all of our top guns go at it as they fight hard for supremacy in the final rounds of this championship. We're getting to the closing stages. Yes, the king is not here. It is Kinsella who's not made the trip to Cape Town, deciding to stick it out and hope that it all goes according to plan, and the points scored this weekend still allow him to take the championship and the overall championship. Man closest to him will be, of course, a hard-charging and hard-fighting Graham Van Breda. And Van Breda will be looking to try and see if he can have that mathematical chance of maybe just spoiling it ever so slightly and allowing the championship to come back up into Gauteng before we get into the closing stages of wrapping up what has been a spectacular 2025 season. As you can see, it's not such a big field down here, but it's a quality field. And it's the usual contenders as well as the boys that are in the running for the championship titles. Those are the guys who've made their way down here to Cape Town, and they're looking forward to doing battle once again here at this incredible circuit. A couple little changes here and there to the bikes as they get ready for qualifying, and good to see JLR returning after that big crash at Killarney. He's a little bit worse for wear and probably not up to 100% fitness just yet, but a man that will be certainly fighting hard to try and stay in the hunt for Class C honours. Always awesome to see the backup and support that we've got from Bridgestone tyres. And this championship is actually heading into equaling the very long and synonymous relationship that once was modified saloons that became V8 supercars with Goodyear. And I think it's probably one of the longest standing tyre manufacturer support sponsorships that's happened in any motorcycle division of South African motorsport in a long, long time. And as you can see, brand new rubber coming out there for race day to get themselves all prepped and ready before they get out onto the circuit after qualifying. It's an important factor to get as much heat into that rubber as possible, so you'll see most of the guys are using tyre warmers. Fantastic to see the return of Trevor the Killer Westman at his home circuit. He was expecting, of course, Kinsella to join him, and that's not going to happen. And I think the crowds here are going to be supporting the Cape Town Massive. Yeah, so it's time to pull up your socks, get those helmets ready, maybe just give a couple of guys a bit of a wake-up call. How you doing? Yes, ready to go? Looks like it. Let's see what happens now as we get into this incredible day's racing. I'm looking forward to fantastic race action. How did... hang on a second, that's not right. Loops, how did you get orange Bridgestone? I'd like a set of those, please. I think Trevor Westman would like a set as well. But with that said, I think it's time for the Jess to hit the road. And it's now time to put that Bridgestone rubber onto the racetrack and time to go racing for Heat 1 of Round 7 here at Killarney International Raceway. Let's have a look at how qualifying ended up after the 4 qualifying sessions. It's Westman who's on pole for Class A and overall. Jason Lamb on pole for Class C, second on the front row there alongside Dave Enticott. So it's almost a sort of Western Cape, Eastern Cape front row. Graham Van Breda in Class B's first man ahead of Hein McMahon. And then Lubabala and Sana is the second of the Class Bs. Reggie Seal down in 8th place as they head towards turn 1 for the 3rd Class B rider. Looking for the whole shot, Jason Lamb got off the line really nicely. Looks like he's got into the whole shot position and steals it there from the 2 Cape Town-based boys. Killer Westman, maybe a little bit rusty still after that big crash. He had a huge one at Damstip only a couple of months ago, but already putting it inside and into turn 2, Cashel Corner, sneaks up and takes the lead ahead of Jason Lamb. Behind that, they line up in the form of Hein McMahon. He's got a bit of pressure being put on there to Graham Van Breda, and Keith Agliotti's in the mix there too. Great start there from those 4 riders, and then right behind them, Lubabala and Sana. Local man with a bit of local knowledge looking to try and do as much as he can. This is Agliotti's point of view as we look at the rear-facing to become the forward-facing camera, and then back into the rear as they head towards turn 1. On board here, with the Ridgeway race bar and by a clean SA Kawasaki as he steals into the first turn and sneaks up the inside. I think that was of Reggie Seal. Yeah, squeezing through there on Reggie Seal and just demoting him down one position. Great start there from Keith Agliotti as we watch him up into turn 2. Seal closing down under brakes. It's a little bit high and wide out of turn 2 there, but back to the front end as they come out of 2 down towards 3. And it's Jason Lamb who managed to keep out Trevor Westman. Incredibly, the killer Westman could not find a way through there on Jason Lamb as they came up through turn 3 and into the sweep and through Sorrel Sweep. Very difficult corner to get right in any form of motorsport, but on a motorcycle it's the first time that they go through there at very, very high speed on the right hand side of those Bridgestones. And then as we go on board here, as you can see, heading down the back straightaway, a little bit of a breeze blowing. This is going to make it exceptionally difficult. Some of these guys have to just watch their braking points, because if it is blowing into your face, it makes it easier to brake. If it's blowing behind you and heading towards it, as you can see, there are the flags to tell you exactly which way the wind is blowing. It's heading straight down this straightaway. So you've got to be very early on the brakes, because the additional wind from behind will throw you into Hole's Hook and just give you a little bit of extra speed down there, which you don't want. It can make a couple of guys run wide, and unfortunately there is a little bit of a slip road which they can use. Jason Lamb continues to lead things out though. Great start here from the Tyre Mart East London man and Buffalo Service Centre Kawasaki. He stays ahead there of the Team Wayward motorcycle. And let's see what Trevor Westman's plans are. I think he's happy with the pace that we're getting out of Jason Lamb and realizes that Jay is not really involved in his fight for a championship, although Westman has been out, so he's not even involved in the championship at all. He's here to sort of just get the Cape Town Massive excited about the fact that he's back in racing. Further back in the pack, a fantastic little fight on here as well. As you can see there, slowly but surely, it is Agliotti who's under a bit of pressure there, and it's Lubabalo and Sano who's with him. Right up on their tail end is Reggie Seal. It's kind of a Class A and Class B battle. There are 2 Class B riders and a Class A rider fighting. This is the leading Class C man and the man out front at the moment as well. Just dominating and dictating the pace for this point in time. But I think what's going to happen is Trevor Westman's probably going to be sitting by the wayside and waiting for an opportunity to pounce later on in the race. Right behind him though, Dave Enticott is not out of it. He would love to spoil the day here for Trevor Westman and make it sort of the top Western Cape rider on top of the step of the podium, as opposed to being Trevor the Killer Westman. Enticott had a fantastic round at Kylarney, was up in that top 4 and 5 hunt, and now looking for an overall podium here at his home circuit. Further back in the pack, great to see some little battles raging there. Jacques Cruz gets up close and personal there with Johan Leroux. Johan Leroux still fighting hard, and as I said earlier on, the Avidan Trading Kawasaki of Johan Leroux, fantastic bike, great rebuild from the team that Pepsi's motorcycle, but also fantastic to see that even though he's not 100% fit, he's still out there and still giving everything he can to try and stay in the hunt for the championship for Class C. Class C's top man is out front and flying down that back straightaway. It's 280 odd k's an hour before they climb on the anchors and bang it down the box into about 3rd gear, and then they roll out, probably down into 2nd gear just before they come out and onto the main straightaway, where we see Westman possibly hitting the front. Is that the killer in front? No, not yet. Very close though. He's right on that tailpiece of Jason Lamb, heading towards turn 1, and now looking for an opportunity to maybe sneak through and find a way past. Maybe start to open up a bit of a margin. He realizes Enticott is maybe putting a bit of pressure on that he doesn't want. As they come through there, Keith Agliotti trying to close things down. He's got Seal behind him. That's a nice little fight that continues all the way through. And here we go. Westman up the inside into Castrol. Cape Town line. That's what it's all about. And of course, Jason Lamb, who would have used a couple of East London and PE lines on a few occasions this year when we were down at those 2 circuits, and I can tell you, fortunately he didn't get a chance to race at East London after that abysmal rainstorm that caused the water pipe to burst, but he would have been loving life and he'd got a chance to impress his home circuit fans, just like we're seeing here from Reggie Seal's point of view, but more importantly from the 2 Cape Town boys out front. Westman now leading out, and as we go further back here, picking up on the battle just behind that. And you can see just on that little battle, Agliotti, Lubabalo and Sana just ahead of Reggie Seal. And they continue to fight it out. This is a fantastic little fight between them as well. Heading onto that back straightaway, of course, nice to see Jordan Agliotti back in the pits as well, the man from EBC Brakes, helping out. He actually stepped into the commentary on the live stream feed as well, so it was great to have him in the studio with yours truly, giving a little bit of insight as to how the brakes work, and of course giving us a little bit of insight as to a previous ZX-10 Masters Cup rider himself and racer himself. As they come through there, it looks as if Hein McMahon might have squeezed ahead, and I think he has. He's got ahead there of Graham Van Breda, who's now dropped down to 5th place overall. So a little change up there in the way things normally run. Graham Van Breda realizing that he really hasn't got much competition in terms of Class B. His closest rival there is Lubabalo, and Lubs is not quite on the pace as what we're seeing from Van Breda. So GVBD will be just controlling things, making sure he scores maximum points in Class B to still keep him in that mathematical hunt. Change up now between Lubs. Yes, he's dropped behind Agliotti, and Seal stays just behind the two of them. So nothing really different between those three riders at this point in time, other than the fact that there's a new leader in that little battle, and it's now Agliotti who hits the front as they head up towards Sorrel Sweep. Fast double right-hander onto the back straightaway that takes them up to just too close to 280 km an hour. It won't be quite 280 km an hour because there is a bit of a headwind, as you can see, because there's a headwind here and there's a tailwind down the main straightaway. So it's fortunately here they can go very late on the brakes and use these EBC brakes to perfection, exactly what Keith Agliotti was doing there as he headed into Fostron corner or Cape Town corner, the bank turn at the end of the circuit. It's the last turn before you come to the little kink that will bring you onto the main straightaway again. Enticott closing now onto the back end of Jason Lamb. Similar battle to what we saw on a few occasions this year. Lamb, though, would love to try and keep the meat in the sandwich between the two Western Cape boys with an Eastern Cape-based motorcycle. I don't think anybody's going to have an answer here, and I didn't think we would have, other than if Clint Seller had been here to Trevor Westman's pace. He is exceptionally good around this track, and despite him being off for such a long time, he's made a welcome return. And speaking of welcome returns, whoa, great line up the inside there from Dave Enticott. Just diving through and finding a way past on Cashel Corner. So up into second place. Lamb will realise that's a Class A rider in front of him, and he has got a massive lead over Jacques Cruz and Ian Harwood for Class C. It looks like we might have had a little bit of issue. I'm just going to double check those. We maybe try and pick up on those back markers. There you can see Steve Galgocci and Byron Rothko having a little fight there. They're fighting for single-digit honours. It's 9th and 10th place that the two of them are fighting for, but I was just checking to see whether I could pick up on the 44 bike there of JLR. Looks like he might have gone missing somewhere out on track. Keep an eye on that one. Back of the pack though, nothing wrong with this one. Ian Harwood also back on circuit for the first time in about 6 races. So great to have the man from TRP and Bridgestone back on his motorcycle. Yeah, he's just taking it easy. Health is not 100% just yet, but also great to have him back here. And of course the man who is and who we were chatting about earlier on, and his product that we love to race on, the Bridgestone rubber that is supplied for the ZX-10 Masters Cup. Don't forget, Sunbet is running that incredible promotion at the moment where you can win a Golf GTI. So get onto the Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup site on any one of our social media pages and check out exactly what that's all about. There's a very good possibility you could be driving away in a Golf GTI. So that's not a bad plan. Get out there and do what you need to do. GVBD all by himself there in Class B, and hanging on to the tail end here of a very good ride coming out of Hein McMahon. He's going to finish up 3rd place overall in Class A, and it's going to be 4th on the road by the looks of things there. Force Lucky. Good run there from the X-Pro Security Solutions and K9 Law Enforcement bike. And he's had also a great run here in this first heat. The man who would be king. He's got 40 on his bike at the moment. He's had number 1 on the bike on numerous occasions in the past, and he would have loved to get that number 1 plate back again. But unfortunately, it looks as if by the end of this particular outing at the Killarney International Raceway, things are going to go into the hands of the King Price Kawasaki team. And of course, Evil Knievel going to be looking for back-to-back championships in the ZX-10 Masters Cup. As we watch the closing stages now, that's the gap between Enticott and Lamb is still giving Enticott a bit of a run for his money. He's not giving up. It's a great little battle here for second place as Jason Lamb puts the pressure onto Dave Enticott. Enticott soaking it up. He'll be loving this. Dave Enticott is a man who absolutely loves a good dice, and doesn't matter where he is on the track. It could be for 1st and 2nd, it could be for 10th and 11th. As long as it's a great battle, he's always going to be satisfied, and I think the same thing applies there to Jason Lamb. He loves a little ding-dong, a little fight, and if it gets up close and personal, it's even better. And that's exactly what's happening between these two. But it is Western Cape 1 and 2, Eastern Cape in 3rd place, and then our first two from the Gauteng region are 4 and 5 on track. We've got a nice mix-up of Class A, B, and C in the top 5. And, of course, that is 2nd place in Class A at the moment. And Dave Enticott on that Ravenel, South Africa, and Motorwise bike having a fantastic run here at his home circuit. Up into 2nd. Back down a little bit further back. Once again, picking up on that little fight. Rothko and Steve Galgocci. Jacques Cruz, I think, has just dropped behind the two of them now. He's just out of the single digits and hanging on to the tail end of 11th place at this point in time. 37 bike there, the Mag Magic and Pool Warehouse machine, fighting hard there with MTech Performance, and of course the 2M Trailers bike of Steve Galgocci. And as I said, that's the fight for the last of the single digits. 9th place is up for grabs there. Here we go. This is the 3rd place fight. Back down into Holshoek, the first turn here at Killarney, and into the back markers for the first time. They've just gone past the number 24 machine, the TRP Distributors and Berwick Kawasaki of Ian Harwood. So he's been lucky. He'll be happy about that. He'll only have to do 9 of the 10. And, of course, the way he's feeling right now, he's not 100%, as I said, but he'd certainly just take that one extra lap not having to be done as a welcome respite for his efforts that he's put in for today in this first heat. Trevor Westman, though, is cleaning up here properly and showing everybody a clean pair of 2 wheels as he heads back down towards the bottom end of the circuit and towards Cape Town corner yet again. Fantastic championship, and this one of course would have been a lot closer, I think, if Westman had not had that crash earlier in the season and had to bow out of a couple of rounds. Back to the fight here between Rothpool and Galgocci. Galgocci looking for an inside line there on Byron shutting the door, but Jacques Cruz is sitting waiting for something to go wrong with these two. He'll pick up the pieces if it does. He's not going to be too concerned about the fight, because it's slowing them down and bringing them into his clutches, which is a good effort there from Jacques Cruz to stick around. Cruz, of course, on that extreme bike and firm faith Kawasaki. Heads down into turn 5 as we watch the leader back through turn 2, Cashel corner. A slow-mo shot here of the Team Wayward, powered by Project 60 SA Kawasaki. And fantastic, as I said, to see Westy back in the field. The killer has been missed, and I'm sure that the Cape Town Massive that are here watching all of the Extreme Supercar and Superbike and Extreme Festival action that happens at the penultimate round of Extreme Festival for 2025, proudly presented by Coca-Cola Beverages, of course. And it's fantastic to see a big crowd back out here at Killarney International. They've had a couple of big events over the last couple of weeks as well, so to have a big partisan crowd here again just shows you that when you come down to the Cape, whether it be east or west, they are very hungry for motorsport and love the entertainment that's provided by this type of racing. Cruz up the inside, looking for a way through now, and Galgocci shuts the door. Not going to have any of that. Westman now just in cruise control. And that was a pun intended coming out of Jacques Cruz's shot there, because this man, he's going to be untouched. I don't think there's going to be anybody you can match and mark him. Maybe in second heat we might get Intercot doing a couple of tweaks to the bike, and hopefully we'll be a little closer to the front end and maybe give Westy a bit more of a run for his money. He's not holding back, as you can see, fighting that front end, flicking it over from left to right. And now into the closing stages, Trevor Westman looking for a chance now to wrap things up, and he's done it. He has indeed. As the flag comes out, Trevor Westman takes the victory. Intercot gets second place, and it is Jason Lamb in third, who will take the win for Class C's. Hein McMahon looks over his shoulder, looking for Vanbrugh. He's pulled away in the closing stages there. McMahon will get third place in Class A's, fourth on the road. Fifth place on the road and first in Class B's will go to Graham Vanbrugh. Great effort there from GVBD. And there you can see also coming down to wave to the fans, as always. I think there'll be a lot of riders who've enjoyed their racing today, and they'll be trying to get as much crowd support as they can. We'll look forward to, of course, race action coming shortly from race number 2. But there you got it. Good to see a crowd out there, and to get the accolades from all the riders. That is the man who has won Class C, Jason Lamb. Good effort there from Intercot on the 78. He gets second in Class A, followed by that man there on bike 4. Third in Class A, but fourth on the road for Hein McMahon. Great dice between those two, Lubabalo and Sana and Keith Agliotti. Agliotti winning that fight out, gets fourth in Class A. And there you can see some very happy supporters on the sideline. Enjoyed all that Superbike action, courtesy of the Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup. And there is probably a fan favourite here today on that wayward Kawasaki. Well done to Trevor Westman. The killer is back. Galgocci eventually sneaking through. He finished up in 10th place. Couldn't quite catch Brian Russell for the single digit in 9th. And behind him was Jacques Cruz. So as they roll back into pit lane, it's great to see another safe day's racing so far for the Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup. And you can see even Stephen Galgocci is going, I enjoyed that one. A little bit nervy out there, but some fun and family support on the sideline. There you've got official results. Class A to Westman, Intercot and McMahon. That was 1, 2 and 4. Class C is Jason Lamb in 3rd place, and then all the way down in 11th was Jacques Cruz and Harwood in 3rd there for the Class C's. B went to Graham Van Bedar, BT Dubabala and Sana, and Reggie Seal.
The 2025 Sunbet ZX-10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.